Nice to have you here. Welcome to this video. Today, we are going to take a look at 3 products from ArtDeShine. I have made a small order here. 3 products in the spray sealing area, so just spray it on, let it sit, polish it out, and so on. I'll provide you with all the information. The package is already here. As you can see, I've prepared a little something. I just want to see how these products fit in. I'll show you which 3 I brought with me. What I definitely noticed positively about my order is that all the bottles were also included in a small zip bag. Now the question is whether this was done specifically for me. I hope that it is not the case for all customers, because there is still one thing that caught my attention. The bottle did not survive 100% without leaking, even with the bag. Because the bottle is dry, the bottle is also dry, but the bottle is completely wet and there are drops hanging down here. And you can also see it here in the bag. There are all these little spots. So yes, something has leaked here, even though it was sealed again at the top. It's always cool when that happens. The problem is, it still didn't work. Okay, and here you can also notice that the closure was super loose. Let me check here. Here it is tight. Here it is. Yes, you can turn it even tighter, but it was very loose here. So you could move it very nicely and quickly, and you can still screw it on quite far. It seems to have a problem here as well. So before we get started, let me show this up close. Here you can see it. The spray head is not normally tightened. If I tighten it now, I am practically pulling the thread that is over here further down. And do you see what kind of gap is forming here? But it also slips back very quickly. So if you want to screw it in tightly, now it is really tight. Let's take a look. However, the spray head up here is very crooked. Just a small note, because here you can also see how the plastic is being pushed upwards. I hope that can be recognized. Do you see that? So, here it really pushes the plastic up. I think if you do it this way, you can see it even better. So be careful. Because if you don't do that, then it is very loose. And the product comes out of the opening here. So you have to tighten it properly, but then you already turn the cover over the thread and it bends. I hope this can be seen here. So, just as feedback for the manufacturer, there needs to be a bit more follow-up on this. And we will start with the product that doesn't fully fit into the spray sealing category, and that is the Cleanseal. Although it says sealant on it, it is a type of quick detailer with a sealing effect. And I will also display the information from the ArtDeShine website on the side, so you have all the details right away. 4 weeks of standing time, Hydrophobic is also included. Use and cleaning properties, water-soluble product, easy cleaning. And you will find all further information displayed here as well. It reflects a glossy shine and also enhances the matte shine. And I'm curious to see if any differences can be noticed on my vehicle here. In terms of price, you are looking at 20 for this 500 ml ready-to-use product. Next, let's take a look at the Nano PRO, also featuring the label Sealant on it. This comes in a 500 ml ready-to-use variant. And there you have a price of 14.992 months of durability. So you see, we have a slight increase, 4 weeks, 2 months. Also Hydrophobic here, reduces surface friction, water-soluble product, easy cleaning, uncomplicated application. Nasser Glance increases the matte gloss and is also noted for its chemical resistance, very smooth. Let's take a look. We will check the individual items. So here is the Nano Sealant, and as the third product here is the Graphene Seal. And here we have this slight accumulation of moisture. And something is already coming out of the spray head again. So my hands are wet again, even though I just dried them. It seems to not be 100% leak-proof. But yes, you can see it here, even though I screwed it on tightly. So I believe somehow the spray head here doesn't seem to be working properly. And this is an advancement of the graphene detailer as described on the website. And a water-based quick detailer made from reduced graphene oxide. You can also see here that the bottle or the interior is somewhat dark, also a bit mysterious. I believe you can easily recognize them. Such dark, oh, don't hold it at an angle. It contains such small graphene oxide particles. That means we need to shake it properly beforehand so that they don't settle down here at the bottom. But you can see here, it is already firmly attached to the bottle. You can see it here. These particles are also floating around a bit inside. I hope you can see it on camera. Sometimes a little black thing scurries by here. It looks a bit like coal. Dust is floating a bit through the bottle, and what's down here at the bottom is definitely solid. You can't get rid of it by shaking, and if I shake too hard, it flies out of the top again. So, you can see here, it is definitely solid at the bottom. Here at the intake hose, you also have these small graphene oxide particles. So be a little cautious here. It has a shelf life of up to 6 months, is supposed to be extremely smooth, also hydrophobic, has low consumption, and is safe on all surfaces. 2001 high gloss enhancement. We will see if we can identify any differences between the three products when we place the three fields side by side to check for any variations in gloss behavior and whether anything changes. And now we are going to go directly to the paint. I just want to show you what I have brought as a comparison because we also need reference products, and I have just the last bit of the synthetic spray wax with me. So here, there are really only the last 20 ml left, but that should be enough. Then I can refill the bottle again. I specifically got a 5-liter canister. I also noticed that the products are somewhat higher priced due to the graphene target. Here, the 500 ml costs $25, and then we have the Fireboard Pirouette detailer, which adds another $2 or $3 for the 500 ml. So here we are at 28. I will include all the prices in the overview graphic, but I just wanted to take two reference products because they have really proven themselves extremely well here and they are all-time classics. However, I can't include 10 more products because we want to keep it as concise as possible. So this is our test team and two comparison products. Let's get started. Let's apply it. We'll begin with the graphene seal, and I will apply it here with the microfiber applicator. You can spray it directly onto the surface as stated right here in the description. However, you can also apply it directly to the cloth and then spread it. Essentially, this is a microfiber cloth, so I shake it up again and give myself a little spray on the surface of the applicator. 2021. Pump the spray head fully. Now. So here are 2 or 3 small sprays, and then we can easily distribute it on the surface. Also, make sure to apply it evenly so that we have a uniform product. Make sure to secure the tape properly here. And you send. I really like doing this here with the microfiber applicator because it allows me to better ensure that I, for example, do not wipe over any edges because with the cloth, a corner can always stick out and wipe over here or there. Then we will always have a hardening behavior here. So I hope it works well with the applicator now. I will also go up to the hood side. Simply distribute. There is also no mention of drying time. I basically distribute it like a wax, just very evenly. This gives us an optimal distribution. Now, after a few seconds, we can grab a cloth and start polishing. I'll fold this up a bit so that we don't go beyond the limits of the tape. What I can already notice here is that the paint smoothness is increased. I can already notice it here, even though I take my hand and feel the cloth. You can definitely tell that here it is really normal. The paint is clean, but it definitely has an increased smoothness. You can feel that. But I will also take a look at it in comparison when all the products are applied to get an impression. So, in terms of application, if you really look at it, it looks nice when you distribute it well. With a microfiber applicator, you won't have any difficulties at all. When polishing, it works absolutely effortlessly. It is very, very easy to do. So, next, put the last remnants of the synthetic spray wax in the new applicator and just add a little bit. That will be more than enough. And then we create our double test field here. Apply a little bit of it here. Apply a little bit of it here, and then it goes onto the surface. Also here, briefly distribute the synthetic spray wax. Let it flash for a few seconds. Now let's take our cloth. I need to fold it a bit because the areas are so small. So, let's take a look at how all of this performs. And these are actually exactly the tests that you want to see here on my channel. We compare with reference products. And we have also developed further in that we are now trying to make it even more precise for you and to include more details, load test and so on. When we do everything, 1, 2, 3 sprays. And then we dab some on here. You can already see that it is very, very economical. Distribute evenly. Again, take the small square and include the edges. It's a very simple detailer, but we have found that it has an extremely strong beading effect and also an incredibly high 1000 resistance. So, here in the long-term tests, it really provided a very, very good result. It can also be polished out very well, despite the high amount in the small area. The price is indeed quite high, and we wanted to apply the Bio Nano to the fields now. Also just give it a quick shake. So now we spray a little bit on here. This is, as you can see, Bio Nano. Quick, quick, quick. 3 sprays. So, you don't have to do this with a microfiber applicator. Of course, you can also use it directly on the surface, but I have these test fields, and if I spray it here now, I would just mist everything else around it. That's not the point. So, here we also check again if there is anything specific we need to pay attention to. Spray on the surface or onto the microfiber cloth. It can be applied just like the others. Then apply a maximum of 1 and try out the complete product residues until everything is transparent and gone, leaving no residue behind. So the application is also very simple here. You could let it air out for a few seconds and it can be polished off easily. So this is also very easy. The last product is the so-called drying aid. And here we are now testing its sealing properties. Spray directly onto the contaminated surface. We now have a clean surface, but it can also be applied to the microfiber cloth. Then let the dirt loosen here for 30 seconds. So we will leave it on for a few seconds, 2001, and then carefully remove it with a cloth and polish it completely clean again. So basically, we use this. Let it sit for a few seconds, 30 seconds, and then I wipe it off with the cloth. Actually, in terms of application, it doesn't differ much from the other 2. So here as well, 2001. Let's get right to it. So this does fall into that category a bit, but it is more of a drying aid, quick cleaner, and also an advanced detailer. But we just want to see how this develops. You can also see that it forms a very, let's say, oily film. This is supposed to encapsulate the dirt. So here, we definitely have a different type of product. You can see that it has a light, oily film. I'm going to leave it on for a few more seconds and then I'll polish it out. All right, let's take a look. Okay, so here you can tell that the product has a slightly different consistency, a bit oilier, but it definitely comes off clearly when applied. You might need to look at it for 2 or 3 seconds longer, but it's still okay. With that, we have processed all the products. Yes, this is what the testing procedure looks like, and we will take a look at it after 24 hours. I will let them sit here to air out, and then we will check it out. We then take off the tape and see if we can recognize any areas. This is also clearly visible in the light when the color range is slightly darkened in this gray anthracite metallic tone. And then let's see if we notice any differences. Let's look at the behavior of the coating. I don't want to judge the paint smoothness just yet because we'll do that in a few hours. And later, as mentioned, we'll remove the tape and let it dry in peace for now. So, I'm back again. 3 hours have passed now, and I want to at least take off the tape because I don't want to leave it on the surface for 24 hours. And I firmly assume that everything here was able to dry peacefully. And I would like to tackle the topic of paint smoothness with you. Just be a little careful to make sure that everything is removed evenly. Well, now that the tape is off, we can see the difference, and I will carefully touch the surface. So, I will be cautious regarding the paint smoothness. In the lower section, I must say that the smoothest here is the Bio Nano Fireball, which is really super smooth. I find the Graphene a bit behind and over here. It is rather less in terms of smoothness, and the synthetic spray wax is also more on the medium side. So here on my vehicle, now after the first curing period, we definitely have differences. They are not extreme, but they are definitely noticeable. However, the differences in smoothness are not extremely pronounced. So in terms of smoothness, the Bio Nano Fireball and the Fireball are in first place for me, followed by Graphene in third place. But still, you can definitely notice a significant difference compared to the untreated paint because it is really very dull. Here, your finger doesn't slide over it at all. Synthetic spray wax and the Cleanseal are on the same level here. However, both are also in third place, clearly ahead of a non-reflective paint surface, because here it is really completely dull, in quotation marks. So, we will let it cure further now. That was only 3 hours. We will see each other again tomorrow morning because we want to achieve the maximum performance from all the products here. So, we have arrived at the S-Bay growth 24 hours later, and today we have nice cloudy weather, which means it's not too warm and nothing can dry on the paint. Now let's take a look at the candidates. I think they could all cure well in Goa. Everything is perfect and they are now at full performance. First, we spray with the pressure sprayer to see how the initial shedding behavior is when, for example, a light drizzle falls on it. We don't go straight in with the high pressure cleaner, but start with the pressure sprayer. I'm really curious. Let's take a look at it. So, let's get this under pressure and take a good look at it. First, let's spray it a bit.
So, I believe you can see it quite well. We have our different fields here, and we will move from right to left, or from left to right. Let's start here. We will begin with the dry wash. Let's take a look over there. So, we are now slowly building up the beading behavior on the droplets. And you see, we definitely have a difference between 1,000, let's say, treated and untreated. We can see this nicely here on these surfaces. You can see it nicely here. The paint is just polished and does bead a little, but we can clearly see that this strip is significantly worse. But if we let the droplets build up a bit here, we will definitely see a difference. But if you get the performance after using it, for example, for a dry wash, that would be a bit too little for me. So here, I would definitely apply something else afterwards. You can also see it here, 2001 on the runoff paths. That would be a bit too little for me. Let's take a look at the Nano. Okay, here. Well, this is where it really starts. Look, you can see that the droplets run down more easily and form a rounder shape than on the other side. So Nano is definitely ahead of Cleanseal. At first the droplets are still nice and round, but if you let it rain on them a bit, they definitely become weaker. It reminds me of a mediocre detailer in terms of hardness. You can also see here, if you look at how long the droplets are drawn out and what kind of droplets they leave behind. So in any case, the Nano is already ahead of the Cleanseal. That can be said quite clearly. Now, before we look at the two reference products, let's first go to the Graphene. And I believe, yes, that is definitely an improvement. Washing away a bit of dust. You can see that very clearly. I think the droplets could run off a bit sooner and bead a bit better. And I need to quickly put the system under pressure here. Subtitling. BR 2018. So in terms of order, it's clearly Cleanseal, then Nano, and then the Graphene variant. You can see a very small difference between sealed and unsealed, but in my opinion, it could be a bit stronger. Now let's take a look at synthetic spray wax. And in my opinion, that is definitely stronger. Also the runoff path, if we take it directly into comparison here, the wind is now driving the beads along. You can see it. So, this is definitely ahead in terms of hydrophobic performance, also the Graphene spray. It can also be seen clearly here again. So, in terms of hydrophobia, this one is ahead. Let's also move over here in time and spray a lot on. So I believe you can clearly see the difference here. Let's go back to the fireball. And it works just as usual. In the upper area. I can still play around with it up here. It's a bit flatter up here. And also here again with the synthetic spray wax. I believe there are significant differences. But yes, here the lanes really stay nice and clear. Here too. and here. It definitely stays on a bit longer. So, in terms of pure hydrophobicity, it's 5th, 4th, 3rd place. Or one could actually categorize it differently, placing the 2 in 1st place, because I definitely see no differences between the two. Here, Fireboard Pirouette and synthetic spray wax are very, very strong. Good. But we can clearly see the distinction here at the top as well. This means that all products were able to adhere nicely to the adhesive tape. You can see the difference here again. So, you definitely have a clear picture. But we are going to go over it again with the pressure washer to see if we can confirm everything with more water. So, here too, a very clear picture. The teen's goal has really been completely knocked down, and I even find that Nano has shown a better performance here with a large amount of water than Graphene. So here I would still be a bit undecided, if you especially don't want too much water on the paint after rinsing. I think this is even a little bit better here. But the two maintain their top position here, so you have a first impression for now. I will leave it just like this. I won't go over it with chemicals. We'll leave it like this for a few more days, and then check back after a week to see how it develops. So, feel free to share your opinions in the comments below. What impressions have you gotten from the products? Have you perhaps used them as well? How do they perform for you? Have you maybe already experienced a lifespan of 2000? How long do they last on the vehicle surface? I want to find out which product compares with others in terms of beading behavior, to include them later. That was also the focus of this test. That means here with Cleanseal, as a drying aid or a drying wash, it works well because these sliding properties are really very, very high. But in terms of protection, I must say, I had hoped for significantly more. So here, it definitely had to take a back seat. If you have questions, leave them in the comments below. This was the first video, including here 24 hours later. And we will take a look at how this develops in the coming days and weeks. It really seems to have crystallized to the point that we can include it in the bid comparisons against the others. Until then, yours, Sebastian. Ciao, Lions.